Please share with me your first, last name, and where you're located.
Excellent. Steven Zeller, thanks for having me on, by the way. I'm located primarily in Florida. I do bounce around a lot, however.
So go ahead, Stephen, and guide me. I know that you're vast in technology and future, and so please share with me.
Sure, absolutely. So I am a international entrepreneur. Started at the age of 18 and went through a very fun roller coaster ride of entrepreneurships, lots of successes, lots of failures, as is the case in most people's stories. But I'm luckily now able to focus on my passion, which is innovative technology and advancing human civilization into a prosperous future. Have a very pro tech vision for where we could take this world if we choose to.
And it's so funny because I got chills. You know, when you say technology, pro tech, in the future, if we choose to. Please tell me more about the if we choose to.
Sure, absolutely. So obviously, technology can be used for good. It can be used for evil. Obviously, in the hands of um, mal or ill-willed people, it can actually do a lot of harm for the world. But that same technology, when leveraged correctly, can take us into a incredible, harmonious, symbiotic future, and that's what I think that we are. I believe that good will ultimately win. There's a lot of people that, especially if you watch mainstream media, that will disagree with that and like to sell fear. I am not one of those people because I actually think the implications of what we're developing right now across multiple variables that maybe we can discuss briefly here momentarily is absolutely something that is going to be beneficial to humankind as opposed to detrimental.
Okay, let's go with the beneficial. Definitely. I'm looking forward to hearing about that.
Good, excellent. So, my vision for the future is a world in which we conquer the inevitability of biological aging and death. We
Mhm.
expand our footprint and become an interplanetary or multiplanetary species, and we expand our footprint out of our original confined environment, which is Earth, obviously.
Yeah.
We live in symbiotic harmony with AI and robotics instead of the doomsday sayers of, oh, they're going to replace, take all of our jobs and Terminator style be the end of humanity as we know it.
Yeah.
And then lastly, I see a world rapidly approaching in which we eradicate poverty and afflictions like neurodegenerative disease and cancer.
Mhm. Yeah. And interesting enough is for me, and I'm wondering for a listener, is this something we don't get an opportunity to talk about, right? So of course, AI is all over the place, and that's usually meant to enhance businesses and things as such. As you talk about it, how do you envision us as humans and AI co-involving without losing what makes us humans?
Right, absolutely. It will enhance what makes us human. Humans have always been designed for adaptation and growth. So technology has only ever enhanced our capabilities. So humans, our biological brains are absolutely the most efficient piece of technology in existence that we know of.
Yeah.
Um, and it's incredible what we can do, the processing power. And it's actually crazy when you think about the fact that we're still underutilizing our capabilities. So the ingenuity that every single human possess should is designed for higher level thinking. So mundane tasks should be optimized. It should be taken over by technology. Technological improvements should continuously raise the bar. It should eliminate lower level thinking jobs and tasks, and it should give humans the ability to do what we are designed for. To be completely honest, just this might be somewhat controversial, and a lot of people might hate hearing this, but I believe it's such a waste of human potential and ingenuity to see somebody on an assembly line doing
Mhm.
a repetitive task over and over again when they are selling themselves so short and don't even realize what they have access to, the power of their human cognitive capabilities. So tech to live in symbiotic harmony with tech, you have to eradicate the fear of it's going to displace jobs, it's going to create so much economical hardship, as opposed to that's the pessimistic approach, as opposed to the positive approach. That's what I want. That's the message I want to get out there because think back to history. Throughout history, every time we create, which is what we're again designed to do, a
Yes.
new technology, it always eliminates a job, right? We're going all the way back to the wheel. you
Mhm.
the wheel was invented, people lost jobs. Now they might have been getting paid in rocks back then, I don't know, but
Yeah.
regardless, the people will always have the argument of, okay, well, technology makes us lazy, it takes away from what it means to be human. My argument is always, and we can go over and over, it'll be a lot more of a detailed extensive conversation than the time allotted for this conversation today, but
Yes.
my argument will always remain: technology is what we're designed to advance, we're designed to explore, we're designed to create. That is what we're very proficient at as
Yeah.
humans. Some more than others, but that's
Yes.
just based on how you utilize it and your personal drive.
Yeah.
But technology is not going to inhibit what makes us humans, it's going to advance it.
And when as you were speaking, I was thinking of a lot of things that we tend to think is that it's gonna take over. And as you mentioned, I believe it will allow us to do more of what we like to do, right? I think that that would decrease as I'm thinking, like my mind is going out. I think it would decrease a lot of stress from us, that daily grind of, as you mentioned, being on an assembly line and um,
Absolutely.
repetitive things that are happening. I also believe it'd give us time back with our family, right? I
Yes.
wonder, are we fearful because it now makes us have to focus on the real true things about life, right? I In my opinion, I would go to work and be like, "Yes, I left the kids, I left the family, I don't have to be at the house." Like, it was
Yeah.
literally my getaway, right, for 8, 9, 10 hours, and now that we have something that's about to allow us to have more time with the things that's important to us, I wonder, is that truly, like, the fear of, like, what do we do now?
That's a contributing factor, but the last statement, the last part of that statement, the what do we do now? That is really, I believe, one of the biggest pieces that drives the fear in us because everyone hates and we shy away from uncertainty, and that goes all the way back to the fight or flight response that's kept us alive, right? And that will always stay with us to some extent. Obviously, varying degrees of that. You're going to feel a lot more secure if you have a happy, steady home, a steady job, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
That is going to give you a sense of security, but regardless of your sense of security, and some have it more than others, there's always going to be the fear of change because change is the definition of uncertainty. And then the what do I do now question is a relevant question that people will need to figure out, right?
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
it doesn't matter if you are president of the United States, um, people never know what is coming in the
True.
future.
Yeah,
Change is inevitable. A
absolutely.
bomb could be dropped tomorrow that will change everything. And then the question is always, what do we do now? So humans are designed to adapt. We're designed to change, and we will continue to adapt. So uh, whether you work at Morgan Stanley and have a good job, you could lose that job. There could be mass layoffs tomorrow,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
What do I do now? You fall back on what skill do I have? What skill can I learn? And never before in human history have we had the accessibility to a plethora of skill learning technologies
Yeah, yeah.
that we do today. So you can use that thing in your skull with 86 billion neurons
Yes.
and trillions of synaptic connections between them to leverage the existing technology that we have, learn a new skill that is now valuable because your job was rendered obsolete. It's hard to get people out away from fear because again we're designed to be fearful of change. We like consistency. We
Yes.
like security.
Mhm.
So the message I want to get out there is no, understand and realize that change is coming and it's coming
Absolutely.
fast, but don't be afraid of it. Lean into it and adapt and say, how can I use the powerful technology that's encapsulated in my skull to adapt to this change and become a better version of myself, leveraging these new technologies?
Stephen, you talk about this with so much passion, and I have so many questions, but I also want to know what's your why? What's the story behind why you're moving into this direction?
Sure. So I didn't necessarily have a why when I first initially got started. I can't really pinpoint a specific catalyst to what prompted my initial move
Mhm.
and journey into entrepreneurship. I just knew that I always wanted more.
Yeah,
I believe that it was always intrinsic. Where that originates from, that's going to be a couch conversation at
yeah,
some point in my future, I'm sure.
mhm,
That said, I've taken a lot of time to reflect and trying to ascertain, where that was derived from.
yeah,
Ultimately, it comes down to my current belief and understanding is I have an innate desire to create, to do more.
mhm,
I also have an affinity for complexity, which is why I was drawn to biology and the human brain, things that are really fascinating to me and are so complex, and we're just now getting to an understanding of it, a basic understanding of it, not even comprehensive. So I was at one stage in my life, I was at a pivotal pivotal moment where I had two paths, two forks in the road. I could go continue down the entrepreneurship, which is risky, right?
mm, yes,
You're betting on yourself. You could lose it all. You could end up with nothing. Or I could go to school for 14 plus years and become a neurosurgeon, which I know that I would have excelled
yeah,
at. But I chose the riskier option for the sole reason that I didn't want my entire path in life to be laid out to
yeah,
where it was predefined, essentially, obviously with some variability based on choices. Um, I felt that I could make more of an impact and do more, create more, and um, really help advance human civilization through entrepreneurship. And now I am fortunate to be in the stage of life where I can marry my two passions. So now I get, from an entrepreneurial approach, I
yes,
get to invest in innovative technologies and be a part of biological processes and advancements and genetics, gene editing tools, things like this. That really is where what fuels my passion is
yeah.
seeing and being a part of propelling humanity into a prosperous future.
I love that, and it's very I think it's very thought out, like, you just have these words about you that I just love how they just flow, and interesting enough, with all of that, now what? What's next? So as you move towards this, what's next?
Well, what's next is I'm fascinated by the four things that I mentioned.
Yes.
Obviously, my vision for the world, those are really what I focus on. There's so many different verticals that are making incredible advancements, energy, and things like that, that I do
Mhm.
monitor, but aren't really something that I spend a vast amount of time in because I try to triangulate uh, what is going to make the biggest impact the fastest for our civilization. And I believe that the one that I'm most focused on is genetics. Um, really realizing how to reverse aging, how to put the potential of human immortality and what that looks like from biological processes and reversing aging. And we're making leaps and bounds in that field. It's incredible what we've done in just a few short years.
Yeah.
Just in the last five, there's been amazing results and billions of dollars being pumped into various research projects. You have Altos Labs. That came out with an amazing study. They reversed cellular aging in primates. That was back in 2023, literally a year and a half, 2 years ago.
Yeah.
2020, you have David Sinclair out of Harvard that did it in mice and restored age related blindness in mice and was able to reverse through IPS uh,
Wow.
uh, induced pluripotent stem cells, was able to literally turn back the clock. And it's incredible what we're doing. We can do it with human cells in a petri dish, but we're still a long way away from clinical trials on humans. We obviously have to make sure that the regulatory restrictions that are, we abide by the FDA and all of the other regulatory agencies to make sure that we're rolling it out safely. Um, and the human body, again, is just so complex. It's you're talking about 33 trillion cells. 1 to 2% of that are being replaced every single day in your body, and then each cell, each one of those trillions of cells, right? When you start really looking at it from a nanoscale, you're talking about thousands of mitochondria, you're talking about millions of molecular machinery and chemical reactions that are happening by the millisecond within that cell. So, really understanding how to go about this safely and
Mhm.
effectively, and uh, it's just incredible the advancements that we're seeing in such a short time. That's why I think that we're going to, the statement I made earlier about eradicating afflictions like neurodegenerative diseases, cancers, we're very, very close to doing that. And I think we're going to see incredible things happen just within the next 5 years and 10 years.
Thank you for being here today. I'm really happy that you tuned in to Vision Pros Live. I'm looking forward to seeing your reactions as these episodes continue to move forward. This is going to get more and more fun. We'll have more and more engagement as well. We'll invite people to participate in the show. And thank you for giving us your time and attention. Have an excellent time building out your vision and becoming a Vision Pro yourself.